So we're going to talk about defending single leg X. This is a super important topic, especially if you like passing. If you like being the top player, you need to know how to get out of this. This is the gateway drug to all other leg locks. This is the most common entry, and it gets you into so many other forms of leg lock entanglements that become so much more difficult to get out of. So we need to stop the addiction before it starts. So once we get in here, the main problems with being in a standing single leg X is that there's a dilemma between putting me backwards, where Juice puts his knees into me and he points his knees this way and I fall over, versus if I go forward, he's gonna bring me over this way and expose my heel. So we need some sort of stance that's gonna cover both of these problems. So our stance needs to look like this. It needs to have our knee bowed out in this direction so that it's not easy to reap us over. And then we wanna have a slight bend in the legs over here so that we're not easily bumped backwards. We need to put our weight this way. So if I just have this, he can bring me backwards easily because my head is over my hips. But if I just have my knee here and I just go forward, he's gonna be able to reap me easily this way and expose my heel, and now I'm in trouble. So what we wanna do, again, bow our knee out slightly. We wanna have our weight forward, and we wanna have our leg, our secondary leg, away from him. If I give him my secondary leg, he grabs it, it's gonna be very easy for him to put me down here. So we always wanna make sure this leg is kept very far away from him. So now, in order to deal with the position, now that we're safe, we're stable, we're able to start working from here, what we're gonna try to do is make sure that we can take this wrapping hook off of our leg. This is what's keeping all the weight on this leg and putting the weight over here. So if he's holding onto my leg and he's keeping his body connected here, what I need to do is take this off my hip. I'm gonna grab onto the sole of the foot. I'm gonna bump forward slightly into the direction of the wrapping hook, and I'm gonna take it off. What everybody does here is they let it go. If I let it go, Juice will plant this on the ground, and then he'll take this leg and he'll bridge and kick me. And now I end up going to my hands, and this makes it easy for him to throw his leg back over, and again, expose my heel. So we wanna make sure that we hold onto the foot. It's really important. So again, he's in the Urimi Ashi, standard Ashi, single leg X, whatever you wanna call it. We get into this position, we have our good stance, we're slightly forward, my knees bowed out, and now I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna hip into it and pop it off. So once I pop it off, we need to back step or forward step. If I try to back step and he's hooking into my leg and it's difficult, we can just take our leg to the front and go this way. And now we want to turn around, and what we don't want to do is stay right here where he can try to throw backside and go back into our legs. We want to go all the way up to his shoulder line and grab onto his shins and make it very difficult for him to retain guard. We're melting him at this point. If he wants to keep his guard, he has to do a lot of work. Even if he entangles my leg again, this is a win for me because I'm slowly draining his energy. From this position, we want to try to get our shoulder line against his hips. If I just go down and he brings his knees to his chest, I've lost my guard pass, and he actually might end up starting to attack me out of here. So what we want to do is get our head low, bring our shoulders in, and then bring our shoulder line to his hips. And now we start walking backwards, and we're in a really nice, tight north-south pin. So again, just for standing, he's gonna grab in. I wanna make sure that my knee is slightly outwards. My stance is a little bit forward, so he's not gonna knock me backwards. And now we're gonna grab this foot. We need to get this off the hip. We're gonna hip in, peel it off, hold onto it. Don't let it go. Now, if I can't step forward, what we'd like to do is just push this down and then back step around the leg. We back step around the leg, and we turn, and we go all the way to his shoulder line again. And then we want to get our shoulders onto his hips and start backing up into this north-south position. So once again, here, he's in a standing Ashi. He's got this over. So we have a good stance. Our leg is far away from him. I'm pushing this off my hip. I'm holding onto it. Now I have a choice to either front step if I can't push this down and back step. Most of the times you're going to back step. So I push this down and I back step around the leg. And now I get into this position, hold the shins, and I go down into my north-south for a pin. So now let's talk about the worst case scenario. It's much better to stay standing because it's very hard for him to break you in a standing position. A good leg locker wants to break you while you're on your hip. So if we get put on our hip out of the standing position, maybe we didn't do a good job with our stance, maybe he got our second leg, what have you, we've fallen down to this position, we need to know how to get out. One of the best ways that we can get out is to just take this foot off the hip again. So once again, I'm gonna pull this off immediately. As soon as we land, I'm pulling this off, and I want to take my hips over and sit on it, okay? It's just a small movement to sit on the sit on the foot. What I don't want is that I just take it off, I don't sit on it, he puts it back on, or I take it off and I sit too far and he puts his hook in right here as a butterfly ashi and he throws his leg over. And now we're in a totally different entanglement. If you guys watch Mateusz Jasinski, he's made this really famous, really devastating AOP locks out of here. So we don't want either of those things to happen. So what we're gonna do, again, is just pull this off. We sit on the foot, and now we're looking to either extract our leg or pummel our leg to a counter. If you feel like being a gunslinger out of here and you're always thinking offense, 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 I want you guys to grab onto this leg so that he doesn't pummel it. What we don't want is for him to take this out and throw it over to an outside ashi, and he's starting to be able to keep some kind of entanglement on my legs again and break me again. So what we'd like to do is hold this. We have a push-pull, try to take your leg out. Very difficult for Jis to do that. As I'm sitting on this foot, this one's useless for him. I'm gonna take this leg to the inside, pummel it in, and shoot it through. Once I've shot it through, I pull my knee to my chest to make sure that his leg stays close to me. I could not even hold it, and he can't take it away. Take it away, it's hard for him. It's wedged between my rib cage and my quad that's pulled up to my chest. Now, I'm just gonna throw my foot over. I'm gonna try to cross over in this direction so that he can't get any good heel hooks. And now, I'm gonna go back to the heel. We can break with the typical heel hook grip, but because of the fact that we're not able to lay on the foot in this position, we'd rather do a modified grip. So we want to go to a reverse figure four. So once you go to the reverse figure four, we push down with our elbow and we go across the body with it, and it comes on very tight. So once again, we want to do the gunslinger option. We take this off. We're thinking offense here. We sit on the foot. We grab his foot so he doesn't repummel. Now I take my leg inside, shoot it through. I bring this to my chest and I shoot my leg into it. Now I've got him in an outside ashi just like he had me in. Now we go to a heel hook grip. We can go here and just try to break, but I'm gonna recommend you switch off to something stronger because it's on the top side of our body. Now I go with my elbow down and across the body to finish it. If you don't like leg locks, if you've just been put here and you're more of a wrestler, you don't even want to deal with that, you just want to extract your leg, what I'm going to recommend is taking this off the foot, taking this off the hip again. I sit on it. Still, we're just going to hold this so he doesn't repummel, but this time we're going to take our leg to the inside and we're just going to put it on his hamstring. When we get in on his hamstring, we need to start rotating to take our leg out. So if he holds onto an Achilles lock and I just try to pull it out, it's very difficult because my foot is in a position that it's like a knot at the end of the rope. I can't pull it out. So with an Achilles lock, they're very good at keeping me here when I go straight, but they're very bad at following rotation. So I need to push on his hamstring and rotate my body out this way and get out of the lock. So I go like this. It's very difficult for him to hang on. So once again, I come to this position. He's got me in an Arimiashi on my hip. I need to get out immediately. So I push this off. I come and sit on the foot. I grab his leg so he doesn't repummel on me. And now I'm taking my foot to the inside. I'm getting some kind of purchase on his hamstring. The purchase on the hamstring is important because even if he were able to throw over, I can start freeing my knee line by pushing against him. So I'm not gonna be in danger of a heel hook. So as he's holding onto this Achilles lock, I can't just pull it out, so I need to rotate as I go. So I turn, I rotate, it comes out easily. We can go back into passing from here. So another option that we can do is actually to build up to a knee and try to put pressure back on our opponent. So when we're in this position, especially if your opponent has an Achilles lock, we do not want them going belly down. If he goes belly down and his eyes, I can't even look into his eyes anymore, he's going this direction, this is bad for me. So we need to keep our opponent belly up. We want to grab inside of his knee and we're going to try to tilt him up as much as possible. So he tries to go down, I'm tilting him up. I'm just trying to keep my leg up and boot it. Because I know if he's going belly down and he has an Achilles lock, he's trying to break me with a belly down Achilles. So I'm trying to keep him upwards. And then when I have him sufficiently belly up, I'm gonna take this leg and fold it underneath myself. And I'm gonna rock up and onto my knee. So I rock up and onto my knee. I have my post hand out. I get into this position where I'm on my knee now. What we don't wanna happen is that I get up here, we over rotate, and he exposes my heel with a reap. So we need to make sure that we keep this arm inside of the knee and we have our elbow against his reaping foot. So now when he tries to reap over, it's very difficult for him to do because he can't reap over in that direction since my elbow is blocking it. Additionally, something I've started doing, we can start putting it right here. What happens a lot of times, if you guys want to be in shootout mode, like we talked about, if you're really feeling like you want to go into offense from here, if I put this here and I bump this off the hip, A lot of times guys will get frustrated and try to throw it back on. So he tries to throw it back on. I could wipe it off again, make him think I don't want this on my hip. So what he'll do is he'll get frustrated, he'll throw it over my forearm. As soon as he throws it over my forearm, I can go and put my forearm over top of his toes, bring this to the crook of my elbow, and now I grab my hands like this. The one with the forearm over his toes goes palm up, the other one goes palm down. I bring it to my body and I rotate it this way for a corkscrew ankle lock or figure four toe hold, whatever you want to call it. So we get up into this position, we've kept him belly up, we've built up into the knee. We make sure that we have a good stance where we're either popping this off the hip or we're keeping our elbow in front of it so we don't get over rotated. Additionally, just like our standing stance, we come forward a little bit. We don't want to get knocked backwards. We could still get knocked backwards in this position. So we stay here, and now if we want to, we could build back up to a knee, and we could do the same exact escape where we pull this off, we push this leg down, we back step around, and we go back into north-south. You can do the same thing without building up. You could be right here into the kneeling position. I could just take this off, and I could just go right into back step from here and try to get into a north-south again.